What's up, everybody? You see the title of this video, The Worst Things About Collecting Funko Pops. So obviously with that title, you know there's going to be some negativity within this video. So if you really don't want to hear the negativity, I would say skip this video, basically. I'm just being real with you. If you don't want to hear the negativity, please skip this video. And I've been trying to keep it very positive on my channel. You know, I'm not perfect. Of course, I do slip sometimes, and I have to actually put myself in check at times. But yeah, I've been trying to keep things very positive on the channel, but I figured, you know, this would be a time just to address some of the issues that we see with Funko, you know, some of our perceived issues. I'm going to say it one more time, though. If you really don't want to hear that negativity, please just go ahead and skip this particular video. Now, I did do a community post, and I did this community post on YouTube, and I said, what is the worst thing about collecting Funko Pops? I put that question out there and I got a lot of responses. So you're going to see some of those responses within this video. And of course, I'm going to give my own thoughts about those, you know, some of the statements that were made. Now, I did take the names off of the comments. I don't want anybody to feel like I'm singling them out, especially if I happen to disagree with what was said. So again, that's why I did take the names off of the comments. I'm not trying to single anybody out. And if you respond on this video, you know, don't single yourself out either. If you don't really want to be singled out, then don't make it obvious what your comment was. I do want to say this as well. I think this is very important here. Having an opinion doesn't make any of us right. You know, we just see things differently, and we should be okay with that. It does concern me that there are so many people that get really angry when anybody disagrees with them, and they feel like everybody should agree with them. I think that's kind of a dangerous way of thinking, especially if we look at history. You know, we can point to, you know, some issues in the past and certain types of people in the past where that type of thinking can be very dangerous, you know. So I'm just going to say that we should be open to other people's opinions. So even though I'm going to have a lot of opinions in this video, I'm not trying to say I'm right. I'm just letting you know how I feel. You know, I'm just representing myself. I'm not trying to speak for others. This is just the way that I feel. Okay, so I want to be very clear about that before I get into this. And I think that's enough of a disclaimer. You know, let me go ahead and get into this right now. So the first comment here says, when Funko announces on Instagram, of course, about an already sold out exclusive. I understand that frustration. I definitely do. I've seen this, maybe not so much on Instagram, because even though I follow Funko on Instagram, I don't even think I have like the notifications on for that, because I don't really feel the need. I kind of follow them more so on Twitter. But I have seen it with Twitter, though, where sometimes they will basically announce a figure that's already sold out, you know, because I think by now, you know, Funko should know that things sell out very quickly on Funko.com. So if they're going to announce it, they might as well do it, you know, before it goes on sale. I will talk about that some more, though, here as I move along within this video about whether or not they should do the shadow drops or, you know, give that notice. But yeah, it definitely can be frustrating, though, when they announce something or they even send out an email and it's basically too late. Now, moving on here, we got two comments here that I want to share both of these. I will read over both of these. The first one here on the left, it says, the exclusivity to America. As a European, I absolutely loathe it. It just feels like they don't care. It can be so easy just to make them all available on Funko Europe or regular shops in Europe. And then here on the right, it says, for me, it's the fact that Funko produces too much variance and I can't buy them because I live in Brazil. And here Funko Pops are too expensive and hard to find. So I definitely hear the frustration here. I understand the frustration. And I'll be honest with you, this is something I've thought for years. If I lived outside of the US, I don't even think I would bother to try to collect Funko Pops. I think it would be too frustrating, to be honest. But at the same time, I do understand the struggles with the company, because you got to think about it. It cannot be easy for any company to try to spread out worldwide. I mean, it's definitely difficult in terms of trying to keep quality control and things like that. It can't be easy. And I think that Funko is making some strides with that. So I don't feel that it's fair to say that they don't care. If they didn't care, I don't think they would have Funko Europe at all. I don't think they would have deals with some retailers outside of the US. So yeah, like I said, I don't think it's fair to say that they don't care. I just think it's going to take more time for them to continue to expand. And like I said, it's not an easy thing to do. I think people have to be understanding about that. But I will say this for international collectors, do make sure that you look around and see what is available to you. because there might be more out there than you realize. I've been saying for years now, check out Pop Culture if you're outside of the US and Canada. Still not sure about whether or not they ship to Mexico. If anybody knows, please share that in the comments. But yeah, if you're in these different countries outside of the US and Canada, you can order with Pop Culture. There's also Forbidden Planet International. I'm not sure where all they ship to. I think they are based in the UK, if I'm not mistaken. Check with them as well. Of course, sometimes you can check with Amazon. You know, Amazon is international. Check to see if they have pops available for you. And you mentioned, or you know, one of these viewers here, they mentioned Funko Europe. And Funko Europe may not get everything right away, but give it some time. They do add on to the exclusives they have available. Same thing with Pop Culture. They may not get things right away, but give it some time and they may add on exclusives. So do make sure if you can shop with these retailers, check them on a regular basis. And yeah, hopefully Funko will continue to expand. I think they're going to continue to make that effort, but I really feel like Funko, even though they are growing, I feel like they still have a small company mentality, which is kind of a good thing. I don't think we want Funko going completely corporate on us, you know, so I like that they still have kind of a small company attitude, and it's just going to take some time to try to go worldwide. Moving on here, a lot of people mentioned the issue of space. And believe me, I understand that, you know, once you've been collecting for a good while, space definitely becomes an issue. It's kind of a, I guess you could say, a self-generated issue, because you could slow down with collecting, but we all know that's tough to do. We can be honest with each other here. That is very tough to do. It's tough to cut back when you have to, or downsize and you know, make those decisions. I know somebody else made a comment about that, how downsizing can be tough. And I completely understand that. And like you see here with the comment in the upper right, let me actually read this one. It says, when you have too much and don't know where to put them, so you stack them on top of each other so you can't see them all. I really don't like that. I like to be able to see all of my collection. So that's why I have been expanding to basically different rooms in my house. And I'll actually show you here. I wanted to make sure I had all of my Masters of the Universe figures together. So I have recently started putting figures into another room. And this is a room that I'm not in very often, so I feel like I'm going to have to start visiting it. Although my plan is, once I have enough figures in this room, this might actually become like a new background area for me to film some of my unboxings. So I will get some more use out of this room. But yeah, I definitely have had to expand. And like I said, I definitely understand that issue with space, with that being one of the challenges of collecting Funko Pops. Moving along here, the next comment, it says, the fan base never being satisfied, like asking for a license. We get the license, then they throw fits about it. I so understand this comment here. I'm so on board with this, you know, way of thinking here, because I see this all the time, especially with me doing Funko News. I see so many people that say they want a license over and over and over. And by the way, it is really annoying when people on every video and every live stream that Funko does, they're saying over and over and over again that they want to see a certain license. Like, doing that doesn't change anything. Like, it's still going to come down to whether or not Funko can obtain that license. So trying to annoy people doesn't really help anything. But yeah, I definitely have seen the complaints that even once Funko obtains a license, people are still not happy sometimes. A good example is with Pokemon. And by the way, Pokemon is its own company. There is a Pokemon company. They're not owned by Nintendo. I've seen some people still saying, why is it that they can do Pokemon but they don't have Nintendo characters? That's separate. They're separate, you know. But yeah, what Funko is allowed to do is based on what the licensor allows them to do. So they have to go off of what the Pokemon company allows them to do. They can't just make whatever they want. So I see a lot of people complaining, why isn't Funko doing this or that? It's because they don't have the rights to do so, you know. So that's what it comes down to. And you know, with the Demon Slayer figures, I saw a lot of people saying, if Funko just makes Demon Slayer, I'll be happy. And then as soon as Funko makes Demon Slayer, I'm seeing comments like, yeah, they did Demon Slayer, but why haven't they done JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? It's like some people are just never satisfied. They never take a moment to appreciate what the company is able to do. And I challenge anybody to find another company that has as many licenses and properties as Funko does. I don't think any other company even comes close to making collectibles for so many TV shows and movies and, you know, all these different properties, athletes, celebrities, you know, nobody else comes close really. So I feel like you need to give Funko credit and not always focus on what hasn't been done. Along with that, like I said already, Funko has to obtain licenses. They can't just make whatever they want to. So when people keep asking, why haven't they done such and such? The answer is always going to be the same, because they don't have the license, or they have the license, but that company is not allowing them to make certain characters. I think Funko does pay attention to social media. They know the figures that people want to see, but sometimes they're just not allowed to do that. So for example, with Nintendo, they have reached out to Nintendo in the past. The CEO has talked about this, and he's even said on stage before at one of the Fun Days event, he says, if you want to see Nintendo figures, reach out to Nintendo. It's not Funko that's holding that up. It is Nintendo that doesn't want the deal. So that's something to bear in mind. I gotta point this out as well and be real with you all. I'm just gonna be blunt here. I feel like if some people had their way, and like for example, if they got to run Funko, if they got to take over the company for a while, they would absolutely run Funko into the ground in no time. Because I see some people saying that Funko needs to make certain figures that we just know they're not going to do. For example, I've seen some people say they want the Dukes of Hazzard, but it's not enough to get the characters. No, some people say they want to see the Dukes of Hazzard with the General Lee with the Confederate flag on the top. Why would Funko do that? I mean, why would they go and do something controversial? There's no reason for them to go out of their way and do something that we know is controversial, regardless of your personal feelings. I'm not even putting down anybody's personal feelings. I don't care if you like the Confederate flag or not. That's you. That's up to you. I'm just saying, from the company's viewpoint, why would they bother to do something that we know is controversial? I've even seen people, and I don't know why anybody would comment this on my channel. I've even seen people saying that they feel like when Funko did the history pops, and it was even controversial. Some people were really upset that they did George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. So if you see that response on social media, why in the world do you think they would do Adolf Hitler? Believe it or not, I have seen people say that in my comments. They should do Hitler. Why? There is no sensible reason for a company to do that. So yeah, like I said, there are some people that they ask for things that just don't make sense to me. Even asking for things that are very niche, things that are not well known, or things that, the majority of Funko's audience may not be familiar with. Like, why would they do that? So like I said, I just feel like people need to be more realistic when they're saying that Funko should do certain things. It's okay to say you want to see certain things. I do think that is okay, but I just feel like people should be a little bit more sensible about the things that they are requesting from Funko. Moving along here, let me go ahead and read this next comment, and I really do like this comment. I think there's a couple of things here that can be broken down. So it says, miss when people would buy to collect. Now it's buy to sell, clear the aisles, use bots, but to each his own. Can't blame anybody for trying to make money, but it is frustrating for the real collector who cares about the product. Rant over. Yeah, I really like this comment here, and I'm not going to break it down completely right now. I will get to some of this in the video, later on in the video. I do want to say though, I really like when this individual says to each his own, because when it comes down to it, we can't control other people. There's always going to be flippers, and I will talk about that in a moment, of course. So I'm glad this person did acknowledge, that, to each his own. We can't really control other people when it comes down to it. There are some things we can do. We can control our own behavior, and I definitely am going to address that within this video. But yeah, when it comes down to it, there's some people that are just going to be the way that they are. Now, one phrase that this individual used here, I know that this gets up under some people's skin. This individual used the phrase real collector. I think what they're just saying is when people say real collector, they're talking about people that actually buy the figures to have them, to actually collect them, not buying them just to instantly resell them. And I know that there, for some people it is a mix. They may do some reselling here and there, and they may keep some figures. I understand that completely. But yeah, I don't think anybody should be offended by that unless they're like 100% a flipper. I feel like that's the only person that would be offended by that phrase real collector, because again, I don't even think the phrase is meant to be offensive. It's just saying that these are people that keep their figures for the most part. So let me go ahead and move ahead here. Like I said, I'm going to address some more of this comment here. And you all knew this was coming. I mean, I already addressed it a little bit. Yes, I saw a lot of comments about flippers. There's no way I can even put all of them in this video. I don't have enough time to go through all of them. But let me go ahead and read this comment here in the upper right. It says, the worst thing about collecting pops is flippers, especially when it comes to exclusives, because some stores don't put a cap and the bots buy them all and sell for a premium. As a completionist, it's hard to complete sets. So yeah, we know that flippers are a problem for sure. And yeah, the use of bots is a problem as well. And Funko has actually acknowledged that recently. And I'm glad that they have acknowledged that they are still continuing to try to work with that. And this is not an issue just with Funko Pops. I hope everybody realizes that within every sort of fandom where collectibles are involved, this is an issue. This is an issue with like fig pins. This is an issue with sneakers. You know, it's an issue with a lot of different things, you know, the use of bots. So like I said, Funko is acknowledging it and they are trying to work on it. I will say this though, just because something sells out quickly, that doesn't always mean that bots were used. Funko is popular. You know, when it comes down to it, some things are going to sell out quickly. So I don't think people should say it's bots every single time something sells out. I just don't believe that that is the case. Now, I do want to ask this question as well. I'm going to throw this out to you all. Do you like the shadow drops, or do you feel like Funko should always give advance notice for what's going up on Funko.com? Now, if you say you always want advance notice, you got to realize that that's probably going to make it easier for people to use bots. And if, you know, with the shadow drops, you know, sometimes you might miss out, but maybe that would be more fair to collectors. So I don't think there's a perfect answer here, but I want to hear from you all. What do you think about that when it comes to either shadow drops or giving advance notice? What is your, you know, your belief with that? Like I said, I really don't feel like there's a perfect answer, but I want to hear from you all as far as that is concerned. Now, this is another comment, and this definitely does relate to flipping. It says here, when workers buy all the pops in resale, I can understand them getting one or two, but cleaning house is upsetting. And I absolutely agree. To me, it's just not smart. It's not smart at all. Like, why would you risk your job to flip pops? I think that's so ridiculous. It's really not necessary. And I think there are smarter hustles out there. I can understand, you know, wanting to make some money beyond your regular paycheck, because we know, especially for a lot of people in the service industry and things like that, like the pay is not where it should be, you know, when it comes down to it. But again, I just don't think that flipping pops is like the best hustle that there is out there. And like I said, certainly not risking your job over. And let's be clear, no one has to be a flipper. There are some flippers, like, you know, recently with the PS5s, you have some people that try to give these sob stories and say, oh, we're just doing this to look out for our families. Get out of here with that. That is an absolute lie, absolute nonsense. Nobody has to be a flipper. That is absolutely a choice. I don't believe anybody's in a situation where they have to be a flipper. That's like somebody saying they have to be a drug dealer. Again, I don't completely buy that. I just don't. You know, I think there's other ways to get by. There are legal ways and less annoying ways to get by and make a living. Now, I want to share these two comments here because there's something that I saw in both of these comments, and they were actually posted back to back. But there's something I found a little bit concerning in both of these comments. Let me go ahead and read them first. So starting with the top one, it says, they constantly make good Funko Pops and then make another better variation, so it causes me to buy 2 or 3 versions of the same person. Also, trying to collect exclusives when they immediately get sold out, and then you're forced to spend double or triple the price to get it. Okay, so that's the first comment. Let me read the second here. The infinite amount of pops coming out, meaning you need to spend more money. And the pain of waiting weeks for a Funko only for it to get scalped everywhere. And I mostly mean Blacklight Venom. And yeah, we know Blacklight Venom. I've already addressed that in the recent Funko News video. But what I'm concerned about with these comments is these people are speaking as if you have to buy Funko Pops. You don't. Buying Funko Pops is completely an option. Nobody has to buy Funko Pops. And what worries me about them saying that and, you know, speaking in that way is because this is what really allows flippers to get away with what they do when people feel like they have to have figures. I don't like that mentality because, like I said, that really does end up supporting flippers in the long run. And, you know, I've been blessed to have a really nice collection, but there have been things that I've missed out on. And you see some examples here, and I don't really stress over that. I'm still very happy with the collection that I have. So like I said, you know, you just have to realize sometimes you got to let things go. You don't have to pay flippers. I think that's I won't say a dangerous mentality to have, but it's definitely not a helpful one to have. It's not helpful for the community when people feel that way because, you know, if they're going and they're paying those flipper prices, then of course flippers are going to keep doing what they do. So you got to realize you don't have to have everything. It's okay if you miss out on some things. And me personally, I like the thrill of the hunt. So I kind of like to have some figures out there that I haven't obtained yet. And I know, maybe someday if I'm lucky, I could find them at a good deal, or, I could track them down, whatever it may be. But yeah, like I said, I just don't feel like you have to have everything, kind of get over that mentality. There's certain figures that, I feel like people have earned the right to sell them at a premium because they are very difficult to get. I don't feel like everybody that's reselling is a flipper. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and point out some things here, some other thoughts that I have about flipping. So like I just said, I don't feel like everybody that resells is a flipper. And by the way, I do feel like some people that complain about flippers are absolutely hypocritical, because if they get a figure that ends up being high value and they decide they don't want it anymore, are they going to take it and sell it for what they paid for? Very unlikely. They're going to sell it for what it's worth. So I don't think it's fair to say everybody that resells a pop is a flipper. That's taking it to the extreme to me. Now, my definition of a flipper, I would say, is someone who buys a new pop specifically to immediately resell it at a higher cost. And also, flippers tend to try to set these exaggerated values for figures. Like, it takes time for any given the value of any given figure or other item to kind of settle, and you see what the value is really worth, what people are really willing to pay. But like I said, flippers, they put up these triple digit numbers right away, and they're trying to get people all hyped up and everything to go for them. So yeah, that's what I say, that's what I consider to be flipping. Like I said, I don't think everybody that sells a figure is flipping, and I've said this before on my channel. Some people don't like when I say this, but I do not believe that eBay, Mercari, you could also talk about like Facebook, just in any retail, any I guess platform that allows you to resell, they're not inherently evil. Yes, you are going to have flippers on sites like that, but the answer is very simple. Don't pay those prices. That's what amazes me when some people try to criticize me for like if I promote Mercari. And I have gotten good deals on Mercari. As a matter of fact, sometimes I go to Mercari to get prizes for my prize pool, and it's been very good to me because I look for the good deals. I'm not going paying crazy prices for the figures. So it's a very simple thing. I don't understand why people criticize the platform when it's certain individuals that you need to avoid. And like I've already said, if people stop paying these high prices, then flippers will be forced to either lower their prices or just to stop flipping altogether. So it's a very sensible thing to me. And along with that, I also want to point out that the second market, you can't just say that there shouldn't be a second market, because then what are new collectors going to do for figures that they've missed out on? I don't think that's fair that they would have no chance to get figures that they've missed out on previously. And like I said, if somebody has had a figure for a while, and I've actually seen situations recently, like I've been in comic book shops and I see a collection come in, and somebody had some medical bills they had to take care of, or there's a tragedy in the family, whatever, and they have to be responsible, sell off their figures to make sure they get that money. I understand them selling those figures for what they are worth, so yeah, people completely criticizing the second market, that really does not make sense to me. And like I said, when it comes to the second market, you have the common sense to be sensible and not pay prices that are too crazy. If the prices are too crazy for a particular figure, just let it go. Also, sometimes it helps to be patient, because Funko actually does restock some figures, and I'm definitely going to talk some about restocking, the restocking, especially of exclusives, within this video. But yeah, like I said, the power really is in your hands when it comes down to it. If you don't like flippers, just don't pay their prices. Just don't pay their prices. It's really simple. Up next here, we have 3 comments. I'm going to read over these first and then I'll talk about them. So the first one here says, store exclusives that are always out of stock, just make enough for everyone. These cost what, $3 to make, and you sell these for 5 times that amount. Okay, the second comment here says how sometimes there's ones that never get restocked even if they're super in demand. And then the last comment here says paying good money on exclusives and find out they are worthless after a few months. Now, going back to the first comment here, now I think this person, is guessing about the markup for Funko Pops, and I think we all would realize that it's not just about the cost of the plastic. Of course, there's marketing, although Funko kind of gets a lot of help from the community when it comes to the marketing, but also, they have to pay for licenses, they got to pay their employees, they got actual, brick and mortar stores that they're running now, so they have a lot of cost involved. And I don't think it's bad that they make a profit. They're a business. It seems like some people have issues with Funko being a business. Yes, they got to make money. And along with them making money, that means that it's not their job to protect the value of your collection. Some people feel like Funko should stick to vaulting things and then never make them available again to anybody. And if that actually is written somewhere in Funko's policy, yes, they do need to change that. I will say that they do need to change that. If that's written somewhere that they say once something is vaulted, it's never made again, they need to change that because they have been reproducing some things. So, I do agree with that. But at the same time, like I said, it's not their job to protect the value of your collection. They got to make money. So yes, they are going to reproduce some exclusives sometimes, and that will drive down the value of exclusives sometimes. Yeah, that's just what it is. They got to make money. And they answer mainly to their investors, people that actually put that money, directly into the company like that. That's what they mainly answer to. And I know some people say they should answer to the customer, and yeah, they'll answer the customer sometimes, but not if you're telling them don't make money. If you're saying don't make money because I want my collection to be worth a lot, then no, I don't think they would listen to that. That's not good business practice when it comes down to it. Also, I think this is something I'm going to throw out to you all, because some people say that, like we see here in the first comment, it said store exclusives that are always out of stock, just make enough for everybody. I truly feel that if Funko made enough for everybody, then the company would die, basically, because part of the appeal of Funko is the chance to get rare figures. That's why chases are so popular. That's why you see people opening up like 6 of the same figure at one time, trying to get that chase, and you see people waiting online, and waiting in front of stores to try to get exclusives and whatnot. That's what causes that hype and everything, so if everybody could get everything, then Funko just wouldn't be nearly as popular as it is right now. And if you don't believe me, think about this. There are other companies that make products around the same price as Funko, and they're actually higher quality figures, and yet people don't go crazy for them because everything is pretty easy to get. So you think about things like Q-Figs and Cos Babies and Marvel Legends and things like that and so on, some things that are easy to get, people don't pay them as much attention because there's not that thrill of trying to get exclusives. So I don't think you can completely devalue exclusives. Like I said, I truly feel that if there were no exclusives, if there were no rare figures, a lot of people would lose interest in Funko. Let me know what you think about that, but that is the way that I see it. Of course, the second comment here again talked about restocks. Restocks do happen sometimes. They actually do. So sometimes you have to be patient and see what happens. It's not as if they never restock, but some get restocked, some figures get restocked, and some don't. Keeping it moving here, it says here next, if you think you might need to sell your collection in the future, and by the way, you all, these are my words here. If you think you might need to sell your collection in the future, it's a good idea to take good care of your pops. That's my advice. But if you decide to unbox your figures, that's your business. So I don't think it's smart. This is kind of what I'm saying here with my second comment. I don't think it's smart to get into collecting just for value. There are other ways and more sensible ways to try to earn money and save money. I don't feel like Funko Pops should be your first focus on trying to invest necessarily. That doesn't make a lot of sense. I have said before, I just said it here, if you're going to have pops, I think it might be a good idea to treat them like an investment, especially if you think you might need to sort of cash in to take care of like medical bills at some point, or you never know what comes up in life. So yeah, you might want to take care of them. But at the same time though, if I see somebody's collection out of box, I'm not going to scream at them and ask, why did you do that? Why are these pops sitting out of box? I've actually had some individuals do that with me on my channel. And I'm just thinking to myself, why is this young man speaking to me like my grandma? Like, why is this young man freaking out over me having something out of box? Something that doesn't even belong to him. I paid for it. I don't understand when it became cool to act that way. That's really weird to me. And maybe it is just jealousy that's coming out basically when people do things like that. So like I said, I would give that advice to protect your figures in case you need to sell them. But like I said, I'm not going to scream at anybody and put anybody down because they decide to take their figures out of box. That's their money that they spent. In the long run, that's their business. And let me say this as well, and I really kind of want to move away from flipping. I mean, we could talk about flipping and things like that all day, but I want to put this out there as well. And I've talked about this previously on the channel. So it says here, some people want high value figures that are easy to get. This doesn't make sense. the rarity and exclusivity of figures is what makes them valuable. So I think you just have to be real about that. Some people get upset every single time that they miss out on an exclusive. It is not that serious. It's okay to miss out sometimes. I think people really need to become okay with that and realize that you can't have it all. You know, people that have been with the channel for a while, you've heard me say that a lot. And I think that attitude really helps me to be happier as a collector, to realize, you know, I can't have it all. So I just think that makes you happier in the long run once you accept that. And don't get mad every single time that you miss out on something. One thing that would help you, though, I'll put this out there, is not only to pay attention to social media and things like that and to be in the know, but also to have some genuine friends that are collectors as well. Makes a big difference. You know, it definitely could help your collection. And like I said, genuine friends, though. Don't try to get over on people to get figures, but if you have some genuine friends, they can help you out with your collection. Keeping it moving here, we have another comment. It says, whenever they do something annoying, like release a common and then a better version of that common, like glow in the dark or flocked. The example that always comes back to my mind is, this was years ago, of course, when they put out Cat Dog, you know, of course, from Nickelodeon. They put out Cat Dog, and then literally just a couple of weeks later, they showed the flocked variant that was going to be a con exclusive. And that really did annoy some people, and I completely understand that. And it does still happen sometimes where they'll show, you know, they'll put out the common, and then all of a sudden here comes a variant that people are interested in. I feel like they're trying to get better with it, though. I was actually surprised, if you look here to the bottom right, you know, with a Kid Loki, that they actually went ahead and showed that there's going to be a Funko.com variant of him. So I thought it was cool that they, you know, gave people the heads up. And like I said, I feel like they're trying to get better about letting us know about variants ahead of time. It's still going to happen sometimes, though. There still will be those times where, you know, a variant comes along eventually. But if you really pay a close enough attention to the company, I think you can get to a point where you start to predict which figures are going to end up with variants. Pokemon, for example, we've been seeing a lot of variants for Pokemon. So yeah, like I said, the more you pay attention to the company, I think the more you can kind of predict when those variants are coming along. Next up here, it says things being harder and harder to get, which, you know, I've kind of addressed that already. And it says also here, Funko being lazy. And the example they give is the new Bakugo. I'll be honest, I haven't really looked at Bakugo enough, the previous figure, even though I actually had it for a while. I used one for a giveaway, but I really haven't paid enough attention to it to really, you know, pay attention to the differences with this one that's on the way. So yeah, you know, some of you that are a big fan of Bakugo and you might have the original figure or, you know, the other figures, and yeah, you maybe know more about that than I do. But it's so funny that I did a podcast previously with Collecting Plastic, and I was kind of defending Funko. I mean, really, that was the focus of the podcast, basically talking about how I don't think they're lazy overall. And then immediately after that podcast, they put out these Patriotic Age art series figures, and I was like, ugh. Like, the art series, if somebody calls them lazy, I can kind of understand that, because they're very easy for Funko to make overall, I would think. You know, so I kind of understand where people are coming from with that. And like when Funko has done the chromes in the past and they do like the full metallics and things like that, I will say kind of be fair at the same time, though, because this is common practice for collectible companies and toy companies to reuse molds. That is a common thing. I mean, Marvel Legends does it all the time, you know, so it is a common thing that does happen. And Funko does have a lot of original molds as well, so I guess we got to give them credit for that. But yeah, I'll just say it this way: when it comes down to it, vote with your wallet. If you really don't like some of these figures that you consider to be lazy, then just, you know, don't buy them. And you know, maybe that'll change the way that Funko puts certain things out. So yeah, just vote with your wallet when it comes down to that. And as far as whether Funko is lazy or not, I don't think you can really definitively say yes or no. It's a mix. You know, it's definitely a mix, but I give them a credit for a lot of the new molds that they have and they continue to put out. The next comment here, it says, a part of me hates that they've become so collectible. At the core, these are figurines of characters from pop culture, a way to collect and show off your fandoms. If a 10-year-old starts watching Steven Universe or Miraculous over the summer, I don't like that it might cost 3 digits for them to have a pop of their favorite character. So yeah, I understand what this person is saying, but when you really pay attention to the wording here, they use the word fandom. I don't think children really look at things as fandoms necessarily. Like, I mean, yes, they like different things or whatever, but I don't think they look at properties the same way that adults do. This to me is really more of an adult thing, when it comes to pops. And yes, there are some kids that collect pops, but this is what I'm trying to get at. Let me go ahead and give you this example. So this individual mentioned Steven Universe. Now, there might be a 10-year-old that does like pops, but if they cannot get the pops, I don't think they would be nearly as upset as an adult would be. I'm just being honest. And if a 10-year-old was given the choices here, because you see here on the right that there is a Steven Universe figure, this is a Titans vinyl, I think a lot of 10-year-olds would be happy with that. They would be like, okay, I'll take this figure instead. I think there are more children that would accept that alternative than adults. And I think my support for that is, just look at, some YouTubers, look at their background. There are some collectors out there that do have a good mix. I really like a good mix personally myself. I just think it makes the collection look much cooler. But if you look at the background in a lot of Funko Pop YouTubers videos, all you see are pops. They don't have anything else going on. And I'm not criticizing that, but I'm just saying, I'm trying to be real here, that, like I said, I think that a child would be more open to an alternative than an adult would be. And of course, you all can give me your feedback. What do you think about that? Next up here says, when they lock a unique character behind exclusivity, for example, the Sith Trooper has no other variants for me to buy, and it's over $500 last time I checked. Exclusives should only be different poses, etc. So this Sith Trooper, I did not realize that this one had jumped so high in value, and it is because it was con only. And they do have the Sith Jet Trooper, which I guess, is not exactly the same. The helmet design is actually not as cool in my opinion, but it's sort of a variant, but at the same time, not really. So I do understand what this individual is saying. And I think a good example of this, like for a long time, there was only one Qui-Gon Jinn pop, and it was only available as a New York Comic-Con exclusive and in small numbers as well. And boy, a lot of Star Wars fans were upset, and I don't blame them, because Qui-Gon Jinn being such a popular character, such a well-known character, that was a very odd move. Of course, things did change eventually. Now I think there's like at least 3 or 4 variants of Qui-Gon Jinn, but it took a good while for that to happen. So I don't think this is something that happens a lot, but I do understand that being annoying when it does happen. Like I said, I do understand that. Next up here says, scalpers, bots, Funko itself not releasing one figure for a set, aka the Drowned for Dark Knight's Metal, or Superman for Death Metal. This is something I see a lot, and I kind of understand it. I know that there are some sets that feel a little bit incomplete. This is my issue with this type of statement though. Funko's not out of business. So when people say, why hasn't Funko made such and such, I at least say, why haven't they made this yet? Or, when do you think they will make this? Like, which can't really be answered. People ask me that all the time. When do you think Funko's going to do such and such? And I'm like, I'm not a psychic. I don't know. If it hasn't been rumored, and sometimes rumors don't even pan out. So like, I don't know. That's something I can't really answer. But like I said, Funko is not out of business. So I think sometimes people just have to be a little bit more patient. It's not that they have no intention to make it. They just haven't made it yet. So yeah, I think sometimes you just got to be patient and wait and see what happens, instead of saying, why haven't they done it? Why haven't they done that? And look at it this way as well. If Funko made everything that you really wanted to see at one time, you wouldn't be able to afford it anyway. Like, if some people have like a long list of figures they want to see, and if Funko put all of that out at once, you would not be able to afford all of that right away. And then I know you definitely would be upset if they put out a bunch of figures that you wanted and then they start selling out before you can get to them. So it's actually a good thing sometimes that Funko does, their waves. They do things in waves, and it makes a lot of sense, from a consumer standpoint and a business standpoint as well. So like I said, as long as the company is around, there's possibilities for more. And I'm right there with you all. I know that a lot of people want to see the Drowned. I want to see it as well, but I'm not gonna like hop on social media and hop on Funko's live stream and ask them again and again and again, where's the Drowned? I'm just gonna wait and see what happens with it. Next up here says, the variants are what get me mad. Let me start that over. The wording kind of threw me off. The variants are what get me mad. Don't get me wrong, I love glow in the dark and translucent pops, but do we really need the same pop in different poses? I have a friend who stopped collecting the Dragon Ball Z pops because the Vegeta pop Vegeta pop covered in eggs. So I've kind of addressed this already. Let me just say this though again. I want to say this again. When it comes to all these different variants, you don't have to purchase them. If you don't want to have 50 Deadpools, don't buy 50 Deadpools. And again, that's you basically speaking with your wallet when it comes down to it. The main reason I have this comment up though is because I really do like this response here. It says we feel the same. Lazy chases and variants. Oh, I do have to point that out. Now, the original person here, they didn't say anything about lazy chases, but yeah, some of the chases are just not interesting. You put something in a character's hand, whoop-de-doo. It's some of the chases are really not interesting. But continuing on here, it says, but what's even worse is the whining and sense of entitlement from people when they miss a drop. I hear that so much. Some people, I definitely see that entitled attitude sometimes, and that goes back to figures that haven't released yet as well. There are some people that will comment and actually say something like, where are my JoJo's Bizarre Adventure pops? That is a totally entitled statement to me personally. When somebody says something like that, that sounds so entitled. It sounds such like a spoiled brat. I'm just being honest with you all. That's the way that it comes across. And I think it's not even necessary to phrase things in that way. And like I said, sometimes people just need to be patient and see what the company's going to do, because again, they have to secure licenses. They can't just make whatever they want. But yeah, I definitely see a lot of people highly upset when they miss a drop. Like some people get like really upset over a figure they didn't even know it existed before it showed up on Funko.com. But they miss out on it, and all of a sudden it's like somebody drowned their puppy. It's like, it's not that serious, so yeah, that's just completely unnecessary. And with me being a YouTuber, of course, I see a lot of some of the toxic comments that come. Somebody said here, this was actually a comment from somebody. All they said is the toxicity of the community. Unfortunately, it does exist. I definitely see it sometimes in the comments. And I got some examples here. Somebody saying that a pop is ugly, or like nobody wants this pop just because they don't want it. They're not thinking about anybody else. They're just saying nobody wants this because they don't want it. That's selfish to me. I see people every single video that I do, every Funko News video, we need more anime pops. Funko is steadily working on that, and I don't feel like saying it over and over on somebody's video or in a live stream is going to make a difference. That's just somebody choosing to be annoying. Same thing with people that scream FNAF over and over and over. Just be patient and see what the company is going to do. If anything, I think hassling the company like that might make them want to steer clear of something, because if they see so much toxicity from something, they may not want to be associated with that. And I still see people with that nonsense talking about Funko sucks now and they're gonna go under like Beanie Babies. No, I don't see that, because they have licensing. They have so many properties. I think Funko is going to be around. And by the way, Beanie Babies are still around. They may not be as hot as they were back in the day, but that company is still around. And I think Funko is going to be around. And I don't understand why some Funko Pop collectors act almost as if they hate the company. I understand the company's not perfect. I understand there are some things you're going to disagree with, but there are some people that never have anything positive to say about Funko. And I know this, I'm not making this up, from looking at comments, and I do read all of my comments. And there are some people that are negative every single time that Funko puts something out. Every single Funko News video I do, they have something negative to say. And I think part of the reason that the Funko community can seem toxic at times is because Funko has so many properties represented that basically it's like a pool of all these different interests, people with these different interests together. So if you really pay attention around the community, it's like we're getting hit with all of this negativity from these different, fandoms basically. So yeah, that's just the way it is. It is unfortunate. Yeah, and that's why, when I'm seeing people that are very negative on a regular basis on my channel, I end up blocking them. And, I've tried myself not to be so negative. I feel like there may have been times in the past where I was too negative on my channel and I got caught up in that. And that's why I've been trying to avoid it a lot more. And I'm not perfect. I do slip sometimes. Some people might even call this video here a big slip. But I just felt like these things needed to be addressed. Now this comment is the last one I'm going to share, and I love this comment. That's why I saved it for last here. It says, people care too much. I don't get upset when I miss out or drive hours for them. At one point I did, and I found the less I cared, the more fun I had with the hobby again. Like I said, love this comment because yeah, you really should not, again, you know, I'm saying this, it may sound like I'm being very judgmental. I mean, what you do is your business. You know, this is just the way I feel about it. I do agree with this person. I do feel like you can get a lot more fun out of the hobby when you don't take it so serious. And sometimes, you know, like this person said, you know, sometimes they may take a long drive and they might strike out. I actually like that sometimes. Like, you know, I don't really necessarily like missing out, but I mean, sometimes just getting out, the thrill of the hunt, doing other things as well, not just, you know, just going out for the figures. You know, I'll go out and I'll check out other things as well. It's just fun. You know, I like the hunt, basically. I still have that thrill of the hunt feeling sometimes. So yeah, like, I really get where this person is coming from. You really should not take it so serious. This hobby is supposed to be fun. I mean, the company is called Funko, you know. So when I see people that are having no fun at all, yeah, I think it does ultimately defeat the purpose. This should be fun when it comes down to it. All right, y'all. So I know this was a super long video, and I know I threw a lot at you there. Of course, there were a lot of comments that I addressed, and if I didn't include somebody's comment, it's nothing against them. It's just that the comments did get pretty repetitive after a while. So I just wanted to make sure I touched on certain topics here. But definitely very open to your feedback on this video, and as long as your feedback is respectful, you know, the comment will stay. You know, I'll make sure, you know, people can respond to it and everything. If there's any ugliness, you know, I'll deal with that accordingly. I feel like I try to address things, you know, in a very organized, clear way. So hopefully that's the type of responses that I get on this video as well. I hope you enjoyed the video. You know, give it a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you hated it. You know, that's all good. And again, thank you all so much for sticking with me through this long video, and I will talk to you all again real soon.